Hi there, people pleaser. I just want to have a conversation with you about how to be responsibly selfish. Yes, I know you probably have heard that from your parents. Stop being selfish. Well, this time, I'm giving you permission to be selfish. You have to tend to your own body, tend to your own feelings, because nobody else is going to hold your feelings for you. We have to learn to be selfish with our energy, with our body. And that first starts out with saying yes when you mean it and saying no when you mean it, and being in your body and letting the other people around you have their reaction and being with it. And it takes a lot of small interactions to be okay with it. As people pleasers, we tend to blame ourselves for how people are responding around us, and we think it's all our fault, but it's not. When you're around grown-ups, we are not responsible for completing their loop of tending to their feelings to regulate them. All we have control over is our own body. Because you are a good person, and even if they're dysregulated, it is their responsibility. And all you can do is just be in your body. So we got to practice. We got to practice saying yes when we mean yes and saying no and when we mean no. And what that really truly means is fully aligning our body before we even respond. So if someone asks us if we can help them out, don't automatically say yes to make them happy, because if you realize you have other obligations, they might conflict or you don't even want to do it. So what I would recommend is saying, I have to think about it and see what I have on schedule, and I'll tell you later on so you can work with it, because once we actually just say yes, we commit to it. But if we say yes without fully embodying that feeling of if this is a yes, then it's a hell no. If you probably heard that before, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So I definitely want us to embody that. We are responsible for how we feel. And really, we're not really responsible for how anybody else feels, because you could be the nicest person in the world, and there could be a person out there that gets so mad because you didn't close your book all the way on the table, and it just gets them all frazzled. You're not responsible for them getting frazzled. They can have their experience. They can talk with you about co-creating together and saying, would you like to have a clean environment? Let's work on this together. But they're not responsible. We're not responsible for their freak out. They can freak out, but we have to learn to stay in our body and be safe, and practicing a safe environment. I was watching my friend's video, and she talks about cultivating a safe home in your body. I'll link it down below. I have to look up the name exactly for it. But she was talking about how you want to cultivate a safe spot in your body and really focusing on what it feels like and being in there when you have these stressful situations that are arising around you, and knowing that you're safe, that this person's having emotions that are out of your control, and you're not responsible for making them feel better, calming them down, because they have all the tools inside of their own body to regulate. And being patient with yourself. So, again, we got to remember to be responsibly selfish and be in our body, embodying a sense of connection, being able to say yes when we mean yes, and being able to say no when we mean no, and being okay with the other people's responses. You can start small by saying, I want to go to bed earlier if your partner's uncomfortable with you going to bed earlier, and then let the other person experience those emotions of disappointment. You're not responsible for them because most likely you didn't make a prior engagement that you're going to stay up late. But if you did, stick to your guns. Follow up with what you say, but have a conversation with your partner that things are probably going to be changing and I'm trying these new things. And slow and steady, they will adapt and you will adapt, and you're going to create this new safe environment where you can openly communicate your wants and desires. Let them experience their emotions because they can experience emotions. We're not responsible for regulating people around us. We just have to be safe in our body, and that teaches other people to be safe, teaches other people to make mistakes, lets them be okay with making mistakes, more like it. Mistakes are okay. Trial and error is how it's all about. Without that, we wouldn't know what success feels like. Without error, we wouldn't be able to fully create our dreams. Without the things that makes us feel bad, we wouldn't know what we want without having the things we don't want. So we got to practice being, what is the phrase? Responsibly selfish. Coming right back to it. And there's so many different ways you can be responsibly selfish. But it all starts out with saying yes when you truly aligned with yes and you can fully commit, and no with saying, I don't want to do that. I am not aligned with that. And it's a no. And you can start that with your dailies. You can start saying yes and no when you're going to be doing something with your partner, saying, I'm going to be doing my dailies. I can't do that right now. I'm going to be doing this first, and prioritizing yourself first, being selfish for you because you're worth it. Saying, I am worth it. I am worth it to change. I am worth it for these things I want. And that's how you change, slowly and steadily, being responsibly selfish for the things you want. And you can also co-create with your partner, but first being in a aligned state and having open conversation. I will be talking about that later on. Developing a connection. The link's in the video, talking about cultivating a safe space for my friend Lacey Marie. I think you would thoroughly enjoy it.